Welcome to Unc. Unc as in uncle. Unc on the block, somebody you know from the neighborhood who might have wisdom. Affectionately known as Unc. Unc AI, your 3 a.m. was something I created a couple of years back with no experience on how to do anything with conversational generative pre-trained transformers, also known as GPTs. I was inspired by my students actually having a lot of lunchtime conversations as a K-12 educator, talking to a lot of the kind of unsung or underserved students, namely Black and Latino males, who tended to be on my campus, which is in a suburb, by the way, just underserved, um, kind of like hyperbolized in the way of just being disruptive, most disciplined group on campus despite being a gross minority, and also really just struggling to complete academic requirements, not only for graduation, but struggling in these prohibitive environments and with these forces that were kind of unseen and being able to negotiate their own self-regulation and self-leadership so that they might have some opportunities beyond high school and beyond some of the more maybe expected outcomes that were commensurate with where they had come from. Many of these boys I resonated with because I too came from environments of poverty and violence in the community. So um, this is a tool that I envisioned as being a replication of myself, giving students like these an opportunity to have something ubiquitous, something 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, something that's just always available in the event that they need help with high stakes decision making. Oftentimes, beyond the hours of school, kids don't have their mentors for lots of different reasons. Parents work late, sometimes a parent's deceased, or a parent could even be incarcerated. And there might be a vacuum, when it comes to available, trustworthy adults. And because this group is extremely vulnerable, I created Unc AI trying to leverage human memory, right? That's effectively what large language models really revolve around in their machine learning and being configured to recognize patterns in speech. But to be able to offer human-like responses, obviously, without misrepresenting itself. That was the goal, to not be a culturally appropriating mechanism, but to be something that would be a resource, something in the tool shed for mental and emotional support with the parameters provided by conscientious and responsible AI design. So I involved youth in the process of developing Unc, comparing it to other models and finding that the students just really responded well to this one. And so we continue to need to refine it, make it better, and make it available at scale. I'm excited about Unc.
I'm Norman, and yes, this is my son's room. You can see the Mandalorian poster there. Has the best lighting in the room, so I won't apologize about that. But I wanted to speak to how youth have shaped or influenced the solution that I've proposed here at trying to bring culturally relevant companion AI to scale. Uh, the first order of business was at its inception. I didn't know very much about AI a couple of years ago. I was at a memorial service for the father of a friend of mine who was a basketball buddy from back in the day. And another basketball friend who had been a teammate of mine said, "You talk about all these conversations you have at lunchtime with students, namely with boys and girls of color who are in environments that are a little bit prohibitive because they are a gross minority. They are minoritized, I should say, numerically, and their experiences are often diminished. And so they are navigating prohibitive environments without a lot of real time negotiation tools, I guess you would say. And so my buddy said, you need to create an AI that really is you, not a doppelganger, not something where people think they're talking to you when they're not. But he said, if you could give something the persona of you and really find a way to make it operate in ways that speak to the experiences these kids are having, that'd be really powerful. And I said, dude, I don't know the first thing about it. So it was my motivation to do that that came partially from him, but really from all these conversations I'd had with kids. I started measuring the impact by involving them in a study that was IRB approved. Through Gonzaga University, where I'm doing a PhD in leadership studies. And so I brought in some kids on a youth participatory action research model, and I just had them rate. I said, I want to. This is a GPT I've created, and they didn't know what a customized GPT was, but I said, well, you guys all use Chat GPT, but you can actually curate and configure uh, GPTs based on data that you upload and you can train it. And I was talking to them about that. And so I brought about 4 or 5 kids in and I had them rate Unc AI or 3 a.m. and compare it to other models. And the uh, the results and the outcomes led me to believe that something culturally relevant would be much more impactful.